Hello everyone, and once again welcome to my DIY desk. My name is Santi Louis III of SL3 Simulations, and today I'm going to share with you another cool mod I made for the TM TCA Quadrant, and that is the Super Detent and Tension mod. This modification is simple with very few parts. There is no electronic skills required. We're not doing any wiring or soldering today. It is non-destructive, which means it doesn't physically alter the original shape and form of your throttle. Best of all, it is very easy to install. All you need to have is a screwdriver and probably less than 5 minutes of your time. So stay tuned, because all of these, the parts, the detailed installation procedure are coming up. If you own one of these throttles, you are most likely aware that first, the distances between detents of the lever are equal across the entire motion, and that is not realistic. The real Airbus throttle has a long distance between idle and climb. Secondly, the default detents are kinda weak in my opinion. They don't hold the levers strong enough on each detent stop, so you can easily knock off the levers out of the detent position by accident. And the tension, I think they need a bit of work. What I mean by that is it could be a little more resistive. The unit comes with a tension adjuster. Even if you max the tension, I think the resistance is still not strong enough. So with all these issues, I came up with this solution. And this mod addresses this and will make the throttle feel more realistic. So what are the parts we need in this mod? First, we have these detent and tension plates, one for each side. It is made of 3mm acrylic. In my opinion, this is the best material for this purpose because they are smooth and they are easy and fast to produce. And then we have these clear tension plates. They are actually copies of the white plates, except they don't have the detent holes. This is an option that you probably wouldn't need unless you want to use the throttle on a non-Airbus plane with throttles that don't have detents. What this does is to maintain the new tension without the detents. We have here the brackets that hold the BallPoint grub sockets, also one for each lever. These spring-loaded BallPoint grub screws produce the tension, and the detent stops with those distinctive clicks as they hit the plate holes. And of course, we have the vinyl sticker replacement decals for the new detent stops. So without further ado, let's begin the installation. So the first step is we have to disable the default detent component. If you look underneath the throttle, these are the components that are responsible for the detent effect on the levers. Now, since we are installing a new detent system, we no longer need this. All we need to do is to unscrew this and flip them 180 degrees from their original orientation. This effectively removes the default detents, and just ensure that this little indicator aligns with a straight line here, which means that the detents are disabled. Once that is done, next is to remove both the side covers of the throttle. And this is exactly where we will fit the corresponding white detent plates. So if you look at the form of the shape of the plates and also the cover, there is a corresponding similarity. So all you have to do is fix them in place using your both thumbs. You push them all the way in place. They may feel tight, but that is a good thing because it keeps them seated snugly in place and don't fall off easily. So just push them like so until you can't push no more. Just check and ensure that there is no gap between the white plates and the cover. Like so. So we have to do the same on the other side as well. Now if you want to use the throttle for a non-Airbus aircraft, which means any aircraft without detents, we have to replace the white plates with these clear ones. So it is easy to remove the plates using any flat tip device like your flat screwdriver. So just pry it off slowly, carefully, like this, and then you replace it with a clear plate. Right, so let's put back the white plates in place. And next is to install the BallPoint brackets. I placed a mark for the left and right brackets because the shape can be easily confusing. But if you look closely, you notice that there is a slight slant that matches the slanted lines on this part of the lever. So all you have to do is align this, and then with your thumbs push them snugly in place until you feel the resistance. Now it is important that you have to push it all the way in, because the exact length of this bracket and the BallPoint grub screw is already calibrated with a 3mm plate. If everything is placed correctly, you should get the right feel of the detent and tension. And let's do this on the same side, on the other side rather, sorry. Next step is to replace back the covers, but before doing that, let me highlight something very important here. So when you screw back these covers, please do not over tighten, and let me explain why. If you look closely at these screw holes, you'll notice that the threads are not made of metal. They are actually the same plastic material which is part of the mold for this case. And that means with plastic thread, any over-enthusiastic tightening could easily break these threads, and then you lose the hold of the screws. And let's remember that this whole mode relies mainly on the tension between the BallPoint screws and the plates seated on these covers. So that means it is very important that these screws maintain the hold against the tension. If you break the threads of these screws, that means it's the end for the mod. Although there is a solution for that. Instead of the screw, we can actually fabricate some metallic clamps to hold the covers in place, but that's another story. So to prevent that from happening, let's just keep the screws on the right tension, the right tightening. You don't need to over tighten it. it keeps the cover in place, and the whole mode just works. So with that in mind, let's screw the cover panels back in. Nice and easy. Now, as a tip, while you're holding the panel in place with your hand, try to slide the lever and find any of the new detents. So once the ballpoint is sitting on one of the detents, this makes the easier for you to press the panel in place, because they are much more closer to the case when the ballpoint is inside one of the detent holes. And there you have it. So let's give it a quick try. So right now the feel is much different from the original. I get a very snappy detents, and at the same time I'm having a stronger tension. Almost feels like a hydraulic kind of tension. Now I know it's very difficult for me to describe how it feels by just describing it on a video. I think the best way for it to prove my point is to feel it yourself. So now that we have installed the new mod, it is very important that we have to recalibrate the throttle into our favorite sim. Whether you are in a Fenix A320 or the fly-by-wire A320, it is important that the throttle is recalibrated. That is because our detent will have a slightly different position from your original or the previous, if you install any mod before this one. Right, so you see we are going to the MacDo, and let's go into config, and you see the controls here. Let's click that, and then we go to calibrate. So just follow along the instructions. Like in this case here, it's telling us to set the levers all the way to max reverse, and then we click next step, then forward to reverse idle. Oh, by the way, for this mod I have added a new detent, which is the idle reverse. I don't think there's a mod before that has this detent, and in the real aircraft there should be a detent for idle reverse. Now what you see here on the screen, it is very possible that the left and right potentiometers for the levers don't give off exactly the same numerical values, but as long as you ensure that both levers are sitting on the same detent and you press next step, the aircraft will remember that position and will consider the two as both equal. Right, so let's move the levers to thrust idle, right, like so, and then press next step. Now you see on the screen I have slightly different values. For the cyan indicators for the left and right, but just ensure that both levers are in the same physical position on the detents. Then we press next step. Right, so let's push the levers all the way to climb. There you go. Now again, what you see on the screen per values of the potentiometers, they are different, slightly different. Just make sure that when you check the throttle physically, they are sitting on exactly the same detents for both. And then we click next step. Let's go to flex. Next step, then toga. Next step, and then we store the calibration. Right, so now that we have the calibration stored, let's revisit each detent. So right there you see toga is 100%, and it is important to note that the green indication there says in detent for both left and right levers. Right, so we are in flex, both are in detent. Climb is in detent. Idle in detent. Reverse idle is both in detent as well. Full reverse in detent. Go back to reverse idle in detent. Now notice the magenta markings for left and right have slightly bigger variation, 15.52 versus 14.49. But if you see the green detent indicators, both says in detent, so you're good to go. Reverse idle, again climb, both in detent, flex. Right, so ready to go. It works and it feels very good in my hand. Before this mod, I really had a problem trying to keep the levers steady where they are. For example, during the start of a taxi, because the original tension has a tendency to spring back to idle. And also with this mod, it is easier for me to set the throttle setting for the 50% engine stabilization during takeoff, because they just stay in place. From idle, moving it just a little bit forward, they stay where they are. And also now I can comfortably rest my arm during a takeoff roll, for instance, and not afraid of accidentally moving one of the levers, and then the aircraft will start screaming that you have a asymmetric thrust and all that. Now with this mod, I can put the weight of my arm on it and not worry about it jumping out of the tent. It is that sturdy. And so sorry about the decals. I have missed that part, but it's quite straightforward. So a bit of a tip on installing the sticker: just move the lever into the flex detent, and then with a pencil put a mark at the center of this the two markers here. That will be your guide on aligning the top arrow of the sticker. So once you have the mark, you just move the lever all the way to toga, and then you can align your sticker there, and the same thing on the other side. So that's it for this video, guys. If you like and find it informative, please hit that subscribe and thumbs up button to help the channel grow. And stay tuned, because I am working on the next mod for this throttle. Please note too that I am not in any way affiliated with Thrustmaster. And this video is not sponsored by anyone. My work is purely a DIY attempt to improve the experience on an already good product that just simply missed the important features found on the real aircraft. Thank you for watching, take care, and see you on my next videos.